Right now online, there is a report from two individuals from Auburn University, Montgomery, that discusses on January 26, 1983, the Interstate Commerce Commission announced that it would require all railroads under its regulatory jurisdiction to change from retirement replacement betterment, RRB accounting, to more theoretically sound depreciation accounting for matching revenues and expenses. Okay, that's a direct quote from the beginning of this paper. Um, Now, the audit I've been reviewing is dated for February 4th, 1981. My understanding is that last year, in the summer, when I found this, it was in connection with a number of audits that came from the Office of the Comptroller of Currency, specific to an individual who was in charge of the OCC at the time. And will be the third or the fourth audit actually, from around that time frame that has had its 40th anniversary. Now, I have not been able to confirm which or how, but my understanding is that these audits have been connected to some 40-year security, akin to a 40-year mortgage. I can't say I know a great deal about them. This says that the betterment accounting system was taken out of contention in 1983, right? January 26th of 1983, which would be nearly 2 years after that audit. However, if that audit was connected to a security, a 40-year mortgage, then this year would be the year of the final payment on that 40-year mortgage. And chances are, and my suspicion is, that what they did is they just ignored the changes. This has been going on for a long time. Changes happen, but you're grandfathered in. As a matter of fact, this was part of what I contested in my report to the Senate, and the House in 2016, based upon an article I'd published. That there was a bank that had broken the law, and when they went through the process of addressing it, which was a judicial process, then what was basically said is that we're going to put a 2 year stay on the implementation of penalties associated with you breaking the law to see if the law changes. And they were able to change the law in a year. So they got away with it. Well, how many entities or individuals even used these sorts of benchmarks connected to these audits in some sort of securities paradigm? And so when the laws changed, they've been going for what, over 30 years based on an old standard. Well, how do you get people to run your deals for you? Do you start them really young? Do you get a nice, fresh 10-year-old, 5-year-old, 3-year-old? Do you get them in preschool, kindergarten, daycare? And then what? You expect them to work your 40-year mortgage? Even if the terms have changed. Has somebody kept me and or maybe other people like me on a betterment accounting system, despite the fact that it has not even been legal to do such a thing for over 35 years? Is that why I'm chasing down all these 40-year mortgages on somebody else's houses? Or fixed assets, like maybe a petrochem center, a gas and oil refinery, a pipeline. See, because we're in a situation where a couple of things have happened. The Office of Comptroller of Currency reported 3 years ago that there was a period that had happened in the United States, and I believe they were speaking about 30-year mortgage rates, where we were at a level where so many mortgages were coming due that there was a threshold that was being crossed in terms of reduction of interest payments and paying on principal. This was a notable trend that was happening. It was having an apex moment in 2017. And then after 2017, there was going to be some reconfiguration of the real estate market connected to houses that had come into the period where they were paying more on principal as opposed to the certain standards related to interest payments. And I saw this in my evidence somewhere. I have that original electronic version of that report. Well, since last May, the information on the Office of Comptroller of Currency website has changed. And that is no longer the information that's in the official OCC reports. They've recapitulated the information. And instead, they talk about distressed assets. It's almost as if there was a 180% inversion of what was being reported in 2017. Now, if I'm correct, this OCC report came out prior to the Federal Reserve eliminating what had been a multi-decade process of indexing labor data. In the summer of 2017, the Federal Reserve stopped indexing labor data. Why? Nobody's answered this question. But those trends were happening around the same time. There was also information in these OCC reports, which is still available and has been talked about, though not as much as it should have been, that starting in 2020 through 2024, but specifically 2021, 2022, and 2023 are major years wherein aspects of the gas and oil sector had taken out temporary loans that were coming due. Some of these loans were only meant to be 5 years. They took out a lot of loans that are supposed to be coming due. Some starting last year, there was a graph that discussed the percentages of these loans that had been taken out and what were supposed to be coming due. Last year and this year and next year are the major periods for these loans to come due. Are these some sort of conversions? Is it comparable to what I saw related to the changes in the tenders in Iraq? Did they take out their last betterment on all those fixed assets they had riding on 40-year securities from the 80s when they were supposed to be meeting benchmarks connected to federal subsidies for a transition to green energy? And what? They just defaulted for the last 40 years and decided what? They were just going to try to lure us with sex and drugs into turning our head the other way while they completely dumped everything off onto the rest of us? And we're just how are we supposed to transmute their chemical weapons dumps? How are we supposed to do that? Is that literally what's going on here? And let's take this to another level here. What happened to the deals that we were supposed to have related to the decommissioning of the former Soviet Union? No. Let's go back before that. What happened to the executive order that President Jimmy Carter signed in connection with a special international tribunal the United States engaged with the Islamic Republic of Iran? It just had its anniversary too, didn't it? These are very important questions that demand a direct answer. No. I don't want to hear that. You didn't have any right to kidnap certain women. And if they agreed to take drugs and engage prostitution, then they belong here. If I'm just too high and I'm just too creative to know that you were literally trafficking people in order to illegally distribute chemical and biological weapons, I mean, if I'm too high, I guess I belong here. And if I'm not fucking high, I don't. No. This is exactly where I belong right now. It's the rest of you that don't belong where you are.